What's up, guys? Boy Benny. Make sure that you count your W's. It's a lot of people dooming, a lot of people blackpilling, a lot of people counting L's instead of W's, and there are actually quite a few W's happening right now because the Republican Party is finally fighting for election integrity, because the Republican Party finally has taken seriously voting laws in this country. This is a breathtaking page on the Department of Justice, the U.S. Justice Department, bragging that it sued Arizona because Arizona had a bill that required you to be a U.S. citizen to vote. Now, you might be saying, wait a second, how can the Department of Justice be against U.S. citizens voting? Verification of that. Isn't that going to just destroy the country? And of course, the answer to that would be yes. This is the goal of the Biden Department of, it's Kamala Harris now, Department of Justice. Arizona passed legislation that violates the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and other federal state safeguards, says Gary Restano of the District of Arizona. The district's court orders help level the playing field so that it removes formidable barriers to Arizona's exercise of their rights to vote. They're bragging about the fact that it's a civil rights violation to ask people to be American citizens to vote. Now, this was appealed to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court just returned a verdict. In that verdict, 5-4, the Supreme Court held that you must be a citizen to vote in Arizona. It's amazing that we have to argue on these margins, but here we are. The Supreme Court has reinstated a provision in the Arizona law that requires voter applications to provide documentary proof of citizenship when registering to vote. Glory be to God. This overruled decision by the lower court judges who blocked the law. From here on out, proof of citizenship will now be required for new voters using a state voter registration form. This is a really, really important decision because you're seeing this all around the country. The goal of bringing in 30 million criminal aliens is because, well, Joe Biden only won the election by 40,000 some odd votes. So if you bring in 30 million new people, you're going to be able to really scrape off the top the margins that you need forever to beat Republicans forever, right? And we've already seen this with Kamala Harris: fake crowds, fake support, fake election, fake influencers, and a fake campaign. And so this is such an important decision. Supreme Court grants GOP bid to require citizenship proof for Arizona voters. How can you be against this? Unless the whole goal is, the entire goal is to want fraud in your elections. That's the only explanation. The only explanation is you want the fraud. You want it to happen, and you believe that this is the only way that you will win, is if you have non-Americans voting in American elections. And the explanation that the Justice Department gives when fighting this in court was, well, there's not a lot of illegal immigrants voting. This is what they say. This was their filing. Their filing was, this doesn't happen a lot. Okay? Not that there are no illegal aliens voting. There are just like some. Yeah, not good enough for me. Shouldn't be good enough for you. This is a wonderful, wonderful ruling. We spoke actually with Kari Lake, who's running for office in Arizona, somebody who had her election stolen from her, I personally believe, in 2022 when she ran for governor. I was physically there watching the lines, watching the broken machine, seeing the chaos that was created by the broken systems in Arizona. Kari Lake joined our program to talk about what her vision is and how she's going to defeat Democrats this time around earlier today. And we're all in for Kari. This is great news for her. Let's go. We are the DNC here. I'm sure you've been watching. You are running for Senate in Arizona, and they're vision casting here for some pretty dark stuff. It's supposed to be all about joy, but it seems like it's just obsession and hatred about Donald Trump, and then hatred of successful people.
Oh, I think probably, Kamala Harris is probably playing drinking games. Every time they say democracy or Trump, she takes a sip, and that might be why she's been missing. Who knows? I'm just guessing. Actually, though, it is dark. It is dark, but I hope it goes on because I've noticed, I'm looking down right now, political betting markets show President Trump has gone up 7 points since the DNC started. the big convention started. So if they just keep this going on, maybe throughout, the entire month, we'll see him go up into double-digit lead.
The people of Arizona, are they going to buy this? I mean, we've seen some really great changes in the state of Arizona. It seems like there's been some like marginal victories in Maricopa County and in the way that the election process is going. We're partnering with Turning Point Action on our program here, and there's like real infrastructure now being built to make sure that somebody like you, who had your election rigged and stolen, and I believe that in my heart of hearts because I stood on site and watched it, that maybe it'll be a more of a fair shot this time around. Is that true?
We do have a big ground game, massive ground game, a lot of people helping out, collecting ballots. I guess you're calling it chasing ballots here in
Yes.
Arizona.
Yeah.
Turning Point Action is incredible. We're not going to let one ballot rot on someone's kitchen countertop.
Yes.
And they're working really hard. If you want to come to Arizona, by the way, in October, Turning Point will put you up in a hotel for the month of October if you want to come here and help chase ballots. So we want to get every mail-in ballot in. And then, of course, people are going to show up on election day as well. So we're going to swamp the vote ahead of time and swamp the vote on election day. What we were seeing at the DNC makes all of this all that much more important.
Yes.
We've watched as we have, Kamala Harris with a stolen nomination, Tim Walz, stolen valor. And if we don't do everything in our power, we're going to have a stolen country come November 5th. So it's imperative that we do everything. Nobody can sit home this time. Nobody can throw their hands up and say, well, the system's not better. It's still not right. Of course it's not. We have a long way to go, but we need to get everybody out. Everyone has to talk to a friend. Make sure your family and your friends are registered to vote. You might be surprised. You ask somebody if they're registered, you might assume they are, and they might not be. So let's get everybody registered and make sure that everybody gets out and votes. And then if you vote early, you save us the time of having to call and chase down that ballot. You can then go be a poll worker or a poll watcher or a poll observer, and you can go to your county GOP website and sign up to do that. They'll get you trained. You'll know exactly what you're doing come election day. All hands on deck.
You're running against a true radical, like a really like kind of depraved individual. The more you look into his past, is he speaking at the DNC? I haven't actually seen him.
I believe he is. Maybe tonight. I don't remember what night he's speaking. He is absolutely radical, the most radical member of Congress. He's actually too radical for the squad. He votes with Kamala and Joe 100% of the time, not 95%. So he looks at all that they've done to destroy our country, and he's 100% in line with it. Open borders, pro-sanctuary city, actually marched to defund the police rally, said the police are the bad guys. And, he's for men competing in women's sports. That means he's for men in the locker rooms, watching our daughters change and showering with our sisters and mothers. It's really disturbing, to say the least, what these people are for. And when we have a shot to take this country back and get us back on the right track, we're at a crossroads, Benny. We're either going to save this country, and I believe our best days are ahead of us, or as Ronald Reagan said, we're plunging into 1,000 years of darkness. And as a mother with kids who are 19 and 21, I'm doing everything I can to fight to make sure we have a great, awesome, prosperous and peaceful America for them to finally have access to the American dream, because we priced out this young generation.
Yes.
We priced them directly out of the American dream.
Yeah, you mentioned sort of like this strange obsession and predator protections that the Democrat Party is now pushing forward, and it all locks into place when you see Bill Clinton welcomed on stage. Nobody asks any questions. We know this man's history. We have the flight logs for Epstein's jet. And I mean, he looks rough. The closing down of Little St. James has been tough on Bill Clinton, but he was there. He flew 27 times on the guy's plane, and he's still welcomed on stage. He's still celebrated. He's a monster. He's a true predator.
Yeah, I don't know if the people in that convention hall just don't follow what's happening. I mean, you'd think that would be the person they say, we can't have him here. Thank you for offering, but we just can't have you. It would look really bad. But no, they celebrate him. And, and then he tried to make jokes about President Trump's age. I don't know what actual age, but I look at somebody if they've got vibrancy, if they've got energy, and I see a much more energized, young, youthful, and strong President Trump especially when you compare him to what we saw there with Clinton.
Yes. Were you shocked that Kamala was going to do the debates with Trump? Your opponent did not debate you in your
well, I'm
gubernatorial
going to
race.
debate him. They're trying to put out that I'm not, which is absolutely ludicrous. I have pitched a debate every month. If he wants to debate every single week, I'm happy to debate every single week. We are going to be debating in October. He's agreed to one debate. I'll do 10 debates if he wants to. We can make a deal and figure out where to go, but we will debate with 10 different stations or websites, whatever he wants to do. I want people to know there's a huge difference here between putting America first, which is what I want to do, a strong, secure border, safe streets, fully funding our police, making sure our kids are getting a proper education with actual skills training so they can get out and take on the jobs that are high paying out there, and making sure we have peace and prosperity, not war and poverty. And so I'm willing to go toe to toe with this guy. And, if he wants, I won't wear my high heels so that we can look eye to eye into each other's eyes as we talk about where we stand on the issues.
Yeah, you're probably taller than him. I'm not sure. He looks like a pretty short, sad little man.
He's short on policy. He's short on policy, and he's short on America First policy. That's for sure.
Just in closing here, Carrie, your message to the media. You, of course, are one of the most trusted news voices for decades in Arizona. It must really boil your blood to see the way that Kamala Harris is being treated right now and the journalistic malpractice that's happening in the 2024 race.
It's really pathetic, and I wish that there are a few good journalists out there. I think they're tied to their paycheck, and they're really worried about that. But I wish they would stand up and push back against the corporate overlords. We have a corrupt media. I don't even call them journalists anymore. I really call it propaganda. They treat me just as bad as they treat President Trump, but I wear that as a badge of honor, because that tells me they're so deathly afraid of outsiders getting into a place like Washington, D.C. and finally working for the people, because they know that their reign is coming to an end. The reign of lies, of misleading the people, of being corrupt and turning the government on the people. So bring it on is what I say. And I look forward to a day when we truly do have an honest press once again, because we certainly need it.
It's the mama bear in the high deserts of Arizona who's fighting for that great state. We love the state of Arizona. We're huge fans of Kari Lake. If you're in Arizona, vote for Kari, and we're gonna bring it home this time, man. It's gonna be exciting. We're probably gonna broadcast that debate. That's exciting. I'm excited. I didn't actually know you locked in a debate. Good for you.
Yes, absolutely locked in. We're just trying to figure out the day, and then we'll let you know, and you'll be able to broadcast. That would be fantastic.
Done deal. I think people would love to see it. Finally, the Kari Lake debates. We know what happened last time.
Yes.
Godspeed, Kari. We know you got to get to an event. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Benny.